today's video is going to be a little bit of my nerdy side. I've talked about that I collect trading cards, Pokemon cards, things like that. I've talked about that quite a bit on the channel and going to start putting up more content related to that, but still make it ASMR. It's going to be a whispered video, and I'll have the honey drops for those hard candy sounds. But first want to say that, again, I appreciate all the support. You all have been incredibly encouraging, and just your comments have all been amazing, so I appreciate it. As always, leave a like, a comment, a subscription obviously would be great, but all that great stuff is much appreciated. So the cards that I'm going to show you today, there's some of my more recent, just the packs. I have a whole bunch of, it's a problem. Like, I've got a ton of boxes I've been purchasing. Actually, I've been doing a lot of baseball recently. I'm a big baseball fan, so I purchased a lot of baseball cards, and I don't like to do, people who are in like this, who are in the hobby, they'll buy a box of like 4 packs, 8 packs, 10, 12 packs, and they'll rip them all open at one time. I like to kind of do it one by one, like every couple, like a night, I'll do like 1 or 2 packs just so I'm not like going through everything at once. But I picked up quite a few boxes of baseball cards, Pokemon cards recently that I'm working through, so I am going to get a video where I'm opening packs and looking through them on the channel sometime soon. But the ones that I'm going to go through are some of my more recently acquired ones. And on top of that, these are the ones that are relatively valuable, and I'll leave that up for debate on what's considered valuable or not. But typically any card that like ungraded, like so just raw card that's like maybe worth $50 or more, I'll put in these one touch, they're called one touch, these thicker hard cases. So yeah, I'm considering these. So when you just open up a pack, right, and this is for anyone who's like not really in the hobby, whenever you open a pack and you're just looking at the raw card in your hand, it's called raw, but there's different systems or different companies that grade your cards. There's PSA, there's BGS, CGC, like a bunch of just different companies where you send your card to them, and they grade the card based off of like how good a condition it's in. So a 10 is like, scale from 0 to 10, or maybe it's 1 to 10. Obviously a 10 is better, and when you get a card that is graded as a 10, it increases the value significantly. So this card probably isn't a good example. Basically, you could have a card that's worth $40 just raw. If you get it graded and it comes back as a 10, it could be worth like $250, $300, $500. But if it comes back as like a 9, it's only maybe worth like $70. Like the drop off from 10 to 9 is pretty significant, and it's usually not worth it because you have to pay to get your card graded. So you have to kind of look at the math there and figure out, okay, does this make sense to get the card graded? So I'm going to kind of just walk through some of these cards, and I'll show you what I'm looking at when I'm considering getting these graded. There's a couple of things that the companies look at. So let me get this honey drop going here. I'll leave it off to the side, and I'm going to center this a little bit more. Okay. So this card is actually not a new card that I pulled recently. This is actually the original card that they gave out from, what was this, 99. The very first Pokemon movie that released. This card was given as a promo when you like went to the theater. They gave you the card. So I went through some of my old binders, and actually I found this one. Now, some of the big things you have to look for when you're considering getting a card graded. Number 1 is the centering. So if you look on the side here, you see there's a little like yellow border and then the hollow like purple. So you want the border on the left and the right to be close to the same thickness as possible. And then same with the top border and the bottom border of the card. So you basically want it to be as symmetrical as possible. Now, this card, it's so old, I think raw ungraded, it's worth like maybe like $200. Maybe that's high, $100. If you get this graded as a PSA 10, it's like $1,000. However, this is not going to be a PSA 10, and I'll tell you why. So, first, there's a little bit more leeway, so it doesn't have to be perfectly centered when it gets graded. I think it's supposed to be like within a 55 to 45 like percentage. But this one, I mean, for sure, like the border on the left is just slightly bigger than the right. The top and the bottom look pretty good to me. So, a little bit with the border on the left. The other thing they look at is the edges of the card. So, are there any like little marks or nicks on the edges of the cards? And then the corners as well. Are the corners perfectly shaped? Are they bent at all? Are they symmetrical? So, I don't know. The corners look pretty good to me. The edges look pretty good. The problem with this one, and then they look at the actual card itself. Scratches, fingerprints, things like that. So unfortunately, I don't know if it's gonna get picked up on the video. Yeah, I think it kind of does. If you look right, like right there, there's a little bit of a crease in this card, and it, like I've looked, I've taken it out. It's not just the sleeve that it's in, but unfortunately, there's definitely a little kind of like crease in that area. If you can see it, yeah, that right there, you can kind of see it in the light. So unfortunately, this would not be a highly graded card. I don't even know. They maybe give it like a 5. I have no idea. 6. Who knows? So it's still a really cool card. It's one of the original cards. I think I could probably get some decent money for it if I just sold it on its own, but yeah, unfortunately, this would not be a card that I would probably end up sending to get graded because it would not come back as a PSA 10. Now this one, this is from a more recent set. 151 was a Pokemon release. This is Blastoise. I didn't even say it. This is the Pokemon Mew from the original 151 as well. Blastoise is also from the original 151 Pokemon, but this card, really cool artwork. He's basically just looks like he's like underwater somewhere. Just kind of like floating around, but one thing that's really cool, if you look at the eyes, you can see they've got a little holographic tint to them, which I think is pretty cool. I don't know if it's coming up very well. Yeah, kind of right there. You can see that little hollow. Yeah. I think that's really cool. It's a really cool detail, this card. Now, this card, I don't remember off the top, like, all these cards are going to be worth, I don't know, somewhere from like $30 to like $50 maybe ungraded, and then maybe a couple hundred if they come back as a 10. This card, I think, has a pretty good chance of coming back as a PSA 10. So, if you look at the borders here, on the left and the right, they're pretty even. I mean, the left might be just slightly bigger. The top and the bottom look pretty good. The bottom's a little bit bigger, but the centering on this card is pretty good. As far as I can tell, there are no like scratches to the card itself on the holographic material. Again, the edges look really good. I don't see any like nicks or any like, holographic area peeling off. Corners look good. The back looks good. So this card, I do think the next time I send a submission for PSA, I might end up submitting this one because I think it's got a good chance of becoming a PSA 10. So, we'll see. recently from that same collection where this Blastoise came from. I might just put this one here as a potential to grade. I'll put these over here. This will be the potential grade pile. This will be the non-grading pile. So this Charmander, I also think would have a pretty good shot at being a PSA 10. So the other thing I will say, there's a lot of controversy around these card grading companies because there is some subjectivity, and people have had numerous instances where they will send a card to get graded. They'll crack the case once it gets graded. They'll send it back and they'll get a better grade or a worse grade. So it's kind of like, it's a little touchy, but if I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible here, the left and the right borders look almost perfect to me. Same with the top and the bottom. Yeah, I mean, it looks pretty good. I don't think there's any scratching, creases, or denting on this card either. Corners look pretty good and symmetrical. Same with the edges. I don't see any weird chipping or chafing of the color anywhere. So I do think I will end up sending this card to get graded too. This one's cool. These two, the artwork on these two, there's different evolution for Pokemon. So there's an initial starter type, then it evolves into a different Pokemon, then another Pokemon. Those three all, the artwork on these all set up. These two, they look into they're all one image, if you will. So this Charmander is looking up, and then if you have the Charmeleon card, which is the evolution of this Pokemon, it's in the same kind of rocky hillside, in a canyon, and then Charmeleon's up here looking down at Charmander, and then Charmeleon's evolved form Charizard is higher above that, but they're all in the same kind of backdrop, and you can put the cards together. It's kind of cool. But anyway, yeah, I think I'm gonna get this one graded. Okay. This is from a more recent set. I forget. I think it's I don't know if it was Shrouded Fable. I forget. Oh, this might be Destined Rivals. I can't even remember what set this is from, but this one is not, on the surface, it does not look super cool or limited like these other ones, right? But, oh, this is from Evolutions, Prismatic Evolutions, a set that heavily focused on the famous Pokemon Eevee, which you can see up there. But this one is a little bit more special because they introduced a special motif. These are called reverse hollows, where it's holographic, kind of in the middle here. This has a special Pokeball. It's a Master Ball, so that one's a pretty rare card to find. So I do like this card a lot. I think this would have been a great card that I could have absolutely had graded. The borders are pretty good. The right border looks a little bit bigger, just very, very slightly. But top and bottom look great. No scratches or anything, but if you guys can see in the corner here, there's a little bit of chafing or nicking for some reason. The card just came like that. I mean, I certainly would not have done that myself. So because of that, this card is definitely not gonna get a PSA 10. I can open this and we can look at it. Yeah, there's just on the side there, if you can see it. You see how there's just some nicks and things. It just looks a little off. There might be some over here too. Yeah, I just don't think this one's gonna, unfortunately, it's not gonna come back as a PSA 10. I mean, up here too, it's just not. Yeah. It is what it is. It's unfortunate the card was just kind of cut like that, but can't really do this next one is definitely a more recent card. This is, I forget what set this was from, but this is a newer Pokemon. I think it's one of the most, like, I think from the last game, this is the legendary Pokemon, one of the legendary Pokemon that's introduced. I think this is a very cool looking, just bright card. A lot of colors. It's got the, if you're fans of the game, you know this is like a special Terra evolution, this little like circular ring thing. I love the kind of rainbow colored border. I think it's just a very cool, very colorful card. I love to keep this in my personal collection. This one is going to be close, so the left border here is definitely visibly thicker. It's not huge, not like a huge difference in the borders, but I mean, it's definitely noticeable. Same, the bottom is just slightly bigger than the top border, but it's not awful. The left and the right is worse. You can kind of see it, I think, on the back a little bit too. Yeah. But other than that, this card is pretty pristine. I don't see any issues with the corners. I don't see any issues with, kind of weird cuts on the side of the card. No creases or damage to the card anywhere. So I don't know. I might still take a crack at grading this and see what happens, because the borders aren't like super egregious. So now this one, this is the Charizard that, you'll notice there's a little, 25 here, so this is the original Charizard that if anyone talks about a specific Pokemon card and like the original cards that are worth a ton of money, this is the one. This is the Charizard. It's a version of the original Charizard that was a very valuable card. After Pokemon had been out for 25 years, which I think was like four or 5 years ago now, they re-released a bunch of the original cards, and they put this little stamp on it. So even though this is a re-release 25 years later of the original card, it's still pretty valuable. This one, however, is like 100% not going to be a PSA 10, because the left border is like much larger. You can just see, like, I mean, it's definitely bigger than the right border. I don't know if it comes through very well in the video. Same thing with the top and the bottom border. I mean, other than that, yeah, the card is in great shape. No corner issues. I mean, yeah, if I'm doing, yeah, like it just isn't, it almost looks like the border is on a slant too, but I could be wrong. I don't know. I probably won't end up getting this graded because it isn't, I don't think it's good enough to get a PSA 10, and if it doesn't, it'd be a waste to get it graded. But I don't know, maybe I do, just for keep it in my personal collection. Now, this is a more recent card. I think this is the most recent set. Destined Rivals, maybe? No, Shrouded Fable. I can't remember. It's one of the more recent sets. This is a really cool Pokemon Hound Doom. Kind of like a Hellfire dog, if you will. This card, similar to that Charizard. I mean, this one might be the worst border issue. This right border is pretty thick, and this one is very small. I mean, I think that comes through pretty well. Maybe not. But there's definitely a border thickness or centering issue. Same thing with the top and the bottom. So this card is just not going to be worth grading for me. But it is a cool card. I mean, other than that, it's pretty good. I don't see any issues on the card either. Yeah. Still a cool card. And then these are actually going to be baseball cards. So the last two cards here that I have are from some of my baseball pulls. I just started doing some baseball again. So this one is pretty cool. Now, these are baseball cards by the company exclusive rights to the MLB players. So all the companies that are not Topps that used to make baseball cards for a long time, if they make baseball cards now, they cannot put jerseys or jersey logos, like team logos or names, on the card or on the player. They have to edit it out. They can still use their names, and they can write the team, the city, but they can't write the team name or have the team name or logo on the card. So it kind of turns some people off from collecting. I don't mind it. I think these cards, when you open them, they are just fun cards to open. You get some good value. All the other, like Topps is constantly raising their prices. Panini kind of leaves it the same, and you get some pretty cool cards like this one. So this particular player's name's Chase Burns. He plays for the Cincinnati Reds. He is like the number 2 pitching prospect in baseball, or number 2 prospect in baseball, number 1 pitching prospect, meaning like he is supposed to be like the next real deal because he's young, but once he like makes it to the majors, he's in the minor leagues. He's supposed to be a really good starting pitcher, and this one is it has a piece of his little jersey. These are called relic cards, so any card that has a piece of the player's jersey or a bat or like anything like that, it's called a relic. They cut pieces of it and they put it in the card. So the problem with Panini, though, is these are not actually game-worn jerseys. This is kind of just a random piece of cloth. That's the one knock, because they don't have those rights to the MLB players like Topps does. They signed that contract. They have an agreement. So Topps gets to use the real game-worn uniforms to cut up and put into cards. This is just a random cloth. So, like, yes, it's cool. It's like a jersey, but it's not actually one that Chase Burns wore. They do have some for Topps where, like, if you pulled this jersey kind of card, it would be an actual game-worn jersey from that player. So regardless, it's still a cool card, just not like really a, jersey he wore. So yeah, it's a cool card. I mean, I probably won't get that graded. The other one here is a fun one. So this is another highly rated prospect. I think he's top 20 in terms of like upcoming players in the MLB. Now these prospects, these upcoming players, they don't always pan out. Sometimes they become really good players. Sometimes they only last like a year and they just aren't good enough to play in the major leagues. But yeah, this guy's name's Jesus Made, and it's a very highly sought after player. You'll see this one has a cool orange, like holographic border, and I don't know if it's picking up, but you can kind of see there's like circles, like little circles all throughout this card, if you guys can see that. I don't know if the light's gonna let it pick up, but you can kind of maybe see like a little bit how like there's just a circular design. The holograph, you see those circles there on the right here, right in this area. So it's like the orange, I think it's called the orange circles, orange optic, I can't remember. But this card's cool, it's actually numbered, it's limited, so there's only 79 versions of this card. This is the 6th one they've made of 79, so this is actually a pretty valuable card. I think the last sale I saw was for $44, so if this guy ends up making it and let's say he plays for 5-10 years, has a successful career, this could end up being maybe like $150 card, who knows. So I will definitely hold on to that one. But yeah, anyway, so that's a little bit about some of the cards that I've picked up recently, just through opening packs. I do plan on going and doing some card openings on the channel. Maybe I'll walk through some of my collection at some point as well. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, appreciate you stopping by and supporting. Like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff. And I hope this video gave you tingles. We'll see you on the next one.